Hello, welcome back. My name is Andre, and I'm a former chef with 10 years of experience. Am I allowed to record a second video in the same day, wearing the same shirt? Let's change that up. And with the power of editing, boom, I have a new shirt. Amazing. I'm learning so many new tricks. Can't wait to see what that looks like on camera. What do I want to talk about today? Okay, very important thing when it comes to developing your business. What are your values? What do you want to achieve? What is brand, right? Huge question. Spoke with my wife. She's like, brand will take you decades to develop. I agree. So do all the other YouTubers and business content creators always say, brand is the most important thing. Brand this, brand that, brand colors, takes a long time. I get it. But if you were to start and building out your brand, the thing that I struggle with the most to articulate and the thing that I'm actually good at. So I'm good at thinking big picture, thinking in systems, thinking in creativity and components, and just like my brain just rips and rips and rips. But what I was told was to think about the emotion. What do we want to transmit? What do we want to communicate? What is the through line with the business that we want to establish? Compared to the previous video where I talked about gelato, because that's really top of mind for us with the next project that we're trying to do, my wife asked me, what are the emotions? What is the start? How do we feel about the project and why are we doing it? The big why. If you're a huge Simon Sinek fan, I appreciate his work. Maybe I'll eventually buy a book down the road. Gotta talk about the emotional side, and I really struggle with this. I sat with ChatGPT, we were hugging each other like best buddies for a couple hours while I was spitting out information. I was putting in business assumptions, I was putting in strategy, marketing, all this stuff. And of course, anything that I put into ChatGPT needs to be thoroughly questioned and examined. But having a rough estimate with the numbers is a good idea to have an understanding of like, okay, this is the thing we want to achieve. Let's adjust pricing, let's adjust sourcing, what is the rent, plug all that in, and then you go. So that part is the most exciting. And then making the food and then sharing and then communicating. I also have to learn Spanish. That's a whole other thing, a video that I deleted about what I want to do with my future. But stay tuned for that one. Long story short, good at that stuff, bad at the emotion stuff, even though you can tell I'm like hyper fervent. I'm already almost frothing in the mouth here. So I decided to have a small exercise with my wife where we come up with a series of words to describe the emotions behind our business. I'm gonna read them with you. It is community, integrity, family, exposure, innovation, education, sharing, service, hospitality, fun, respect, comfort, roots, sustainability, and lights. Okay, too many words. I had ChatGPT summarize that down. I will say that ChatGPT is awful, in my opinion, at writing copy. Essentially like picking the right sequence of words to communicate a thought in an elegant and transmissible kind of way. It's almost like computation, brute force, like I'm just gonna combine these, double up the words, community and family value. It's like, isn't a community also a family? Can a family be a community? It just didn't give us a good result. And me being me, I skipped through that section completely. I was like, oh, ChatGPT did it. Okay, I'll look it over later. Let's go down to assumptions, prices. How many staff do we need? We didn't even move to that new country yet. It's hilarious how far ahead of myself I am. And I'm like, what's a VC pitch if I include other things? Crazy, I know. So, spoke with her this morning and I'm like, okay, out of that list of words, let's pick 3. And you pick 3. I'll pick 3, you pick 3. And then what's gonna happen is when we see each other, we'll compare. And the words that match, hopefully we're on the same wavelength. And then that's what we're gonna go with. And then we're gonna write maybe 1 or 2 sentences per word. We'll write that out and that will represent kind of what we're trying to achieve. I'm gonna pick community. Community is very important to me. Part of the reason that I have to learn Spanish is because we want to move to another country. Wow, I hope my job doesn't hear this. And fire me on the spot. Hilarious. So we want to move because we want to have a sense of community. We feel like isolated, atomized individuals living in New York City, 2 parents, 1 child. It's a shit show, pardon my French. Holy my God. Just put my kid into daycare. I made a video about that, about my last 2 years, how much my life has changed since I had my son. Completely blessed, very happy. He's a gorgeous, wonderful boy, but at the same time, both of us need to work. And because my job is predominantly at home, and because I work until 8 p.m. putting in orders for restaurants because I sell food, I'm a food distributor. I work weird hours. My customers and clients constantly call me. In fact, my phone's blowing up right now. I'll get back to them soon. So community is very important to me. I want to have family and friends and heavily involved with my immediate family. Call me selfish. It's because I'm looking for babysitters that are free, but also because I want my child to be taken care of by close family members that care about him. I'm not saying my parents who live 10 minutes down the street don't care. It's because they're not of retirement age. They're still working and they don't really have as much time to be with my son, and they're also doing a bunch of other things that they value for themselves because they want to, and that's fine. But the point is, my sense of community doesn't just come down to free babysitters. My point of community is I want to have family dinners on weekends. I want to have the time for family to sit with my son so that my wife and I can go and do things. I want to take family vacations and family trips. And I want to have a community of people that will support us while we're raising a small child. So community is immensely important to me. And how does that translate to restaurants? The best thing about restaurants is that they develop and foster a sense of community. I'm not talking like the rich New York City yuppie restaurants where you're just gonna go and eat at Catch and like take pictures of like your lip injections while you're wearing like, I don't know, super glossy, glittery dress. Not judging that, people can live their lives. My point is that's kind of a community, but it's so niche and in the moment, maybe not hip, but trendy. I'm trying to avoid trendy. I'm trying to do something that's much more sustainable. I want to attract families. I want to have people go to a place where they can hang out, eat, and have a good time. That's the beautiful thing about restaurants, how they can help bring communities together. You wake up on a Saturday, you want to have brunch, girlfriends especially. They want to dress up and gloss up, go to a hip brunch place. The boys want to go to a beer garden at 1 o'clock because they haven't seen each other and want to shoot the shit about football. That's what makes restaurants great. Unfortunately, if it's too expensive, it puts a burden on the community. You want to have it be accessible enough where the community can continuously go and visit the property. If the price point and entry point is too high, like there's a huge cover and the check average per person will be like $75 to $100, the community is less likely to go there. Speaking to the average man here, Joe the plumber, the idea is that like if it's not his home and there is a place to go to eat, then that should be accessible. So that's how I think about community when it comes to restaurants. A place that people can go to have a good time. It's low stress, relaxing, comfortable. So I used a bunch of our words here to describe community, but community is my first one. The other one has to be innovation. We have education here, we have sharing, we have roots and sustainability. The reason I put all those under innovation is because the specific country that we're moving to has a very interesting terroir, and it's a small country. One of the quotes that we used to describe our omakase concept was, this country is bigger than you think it is. It's notoriously a small country, so if you could, Google it, you'll probably be able to figure out where we're going. The idea is that the country is bigger than you think. The last time my wife and I visited, it went leaps and bounds ahead of where we thought it was. I went to this amazing bar called Baker's Bar, which has cocktails that are as good as some of the best in New York City. They have cocktails with perfectly clear ice, with perfect 90-degree edges that are stamped. I had a penicillin there. I had an espresso martini with the espresso beans in the cocktail. If you're not a cocktail fan, you know what I'm talking about. Just trust me, that shit is amazing. And they had it at that same level as the ones in New York, if not better, because that country and that city is amazing. Why am I saying innovation? Is because the food scene is up and up. And I think my wife and I can bring our fine dining, French, Italian experience to that country and use all of their local ingredients and agricultural practices to take them, to observe them, love them, enjoy them, and then see how we can basically repackage them, repurpose them in an innovative, fun, and accessible way to have them then experience themselves. We did a fermentation class when we were there, and this gentleman told me, oh yeah, we have forests. I thought this country was all flat with only one mountain. Turns out they have a large set of forests there, and he forages. And he's like, yeah, we probably have 100+ different species of mushrooms that are wild, indigenous to the country, nothing imported, like not morels or like porcinis, but a bunch of other mushrooms that you can eat that won't kill you or give you explosive diarrhea. I was fascinated by this. You mean to tell me they have an entire lineage of hundreds of different species of mushroom? That's amazing. I can't wait to taste them. Can't wait to cook with them. Can't wait to see what their flavor profiles are, what their textures are, and all different techniques that we can apply and present them. So that's like on the savory side. But the same is true for the fruit side. My wife, whose stepfather has a small farm there, asked him, hey, can you please plant native indigenous fruit trees and plants that don't exist anywhere else, only to the country? Can you plant them in your thing? And he's like, yeah, sure, we'll do that. We'll start planting in September because we're below the equator and that's when summer is. So the reason I say innovation is because I want to try and discover all those locally sourced fruits and vegetables that could be used in a sweet application and see what comes out of it. How can we play with textures and colors and fun names and share that with the community? The next one I think that's really important, and I'm kind of torn. I don't know if it's hospitality and integrity. My words are typical. Yeah, of course, every restaurant wants to have innovation, right? Every business is innovation, community, and hospitality. Servicing the community, providing good quality service to the community is very important. It's touch points from when the customer first enters your building to when they exit. All of those touch points, that chain from when they walk up to the host stand and say, hey, I have a reservation. What the host says, how they take them to the table, what they say at the table, how quickly it takes the server to touch the table and take a drinks order while we look over the menu. And while our drinks come within 5 minutes, any higher than that, like, we can't eat restaurants that, just like our lean on drinks. Okay. Get the drinks, then the manager touches the table, and then they describe the menu, what you would like. They upsell, try and give you a wine pair, a bottle of wine or a glass bottle of wine, whatever, try and get you to take multiple courses, advise. So like that entire process needs to be completely thought out and chained into an SOP that then can be trained to the server to understand how to interact with the customer based on the brand and essence of the establishment. What is the concept of this place? Because we're talking about gelato, the touch points are smaller, but that doesn't mean we can't have an over-the-counter conversation. That doesn't mean we can't tell the kids, hey, this is a new flavor. We got it from this farm. It's all indigenous and local. Look at this. It's completely delicious. Didn't even need to add sugar. Plenty of sweet. Look at this one. It's kind of like dark and bitter and tannic. Dude, I'm making up flavors, but my point is that excites me. I'll have to learn how to communicate that in Spanish. At the very least, we can tell our staff to do that, and that dialogue can happen. We can make it fun. That's where I believe the innovation will come from. Back to the service side. So, service in this country, not very good. All those touch points I described that are completely meticulous and like OCD, all of those details need to be in place to provide good service. The experience needs to be catered. That's the key word, needs to be catered. So, don't see a lot of that in that country. In fact, waiting a long time for tables, waiting a long time for food, nobody really knows anything. The host was like, there's a particular place that I ate at, was all over the place. Hospitality, very important to me. Very important to take care of the customer, to make them feel welcome, at home, and relaxed, to curate their experience and describe to them things that they don't know, things that they don't understand, things that they might be curious about, and to give them more, and then to deliver on that through the food. That's also part of the hospitality experience. You can't have amazing service, which is very important, and then have bad food. That doesn't work. So those are my 3 words: community, innovation, hospitality. The other word that I think should be in there is integrity. Integrity for me is the most important one. This is part of the reason why I'm not so heavily focused on pre-scripting and heavily editing the videos. I want my passion and knowledge to come through. Yes, I could organize it better for sure, but I want it to be more of a conversation format. So why do I pick integrity as the 4th possible word? Because for me, integrity is important. Being true to myself, being true to ourselves. We want the brand and the experience to be an extension of us, the owners. And we want that to be a through line that every single person that we bring on the team to grab onto, to be pulled into that direction, willingly move forward in that direction because they drank the Kool-Aid, they see the North Star. All of those words basically mean that whoever we are as people, we want our brand and company to be like that. And we want everybody that works for us to believe in the vision like we do and all march in the same direction. So those are my words. I'm gonna use this video to help me write down the sentences so that I can share with my wife and some of the people that we're working on this project with. What are the emotions? What do we want to transmit? What is the through line? I shared the list with you. I shared my 3 words with you. I hope that was fun, and I hope that will help you to think about the importance of the emotional aspect, because we can use our prefrontal cortex to transmit objective, concrete ideas and be very linear and scientific about this. The idea is that the true way to get to your customer, the true way to really understand how people think, is that they attach and associate with emotion first. That emotion then compels them to make decisions. Once they make decisions, they post-rationalize it to justify the decision. The emotional throughput is so important to be able to resonate with people, because that's what brings communities together. That's what brings customers together. And hopefully our emotions are articulated enough and compelling enough and shown through our brand that we can start to build with that community. Very excited for that. Thank you so much for listening. I'll talk to you later.